Rico, Lloyd Ruhl, aka MegaBlitzz. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the top 8 decks from the special event Puerto Rico and all the decks that made day 2 at Regional Stockholm. So starting us off here with our first place list in special event Puerto Rico was Gholdengo EX. Now I will say I was never expecting Gholdengo to win an event, at least not anytime soon, but I want to point out something I think is really interesting in this deck, which is this Room here, which says you must discard an energy card from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. Now, I will say, I've always been a big fan of Room just as a Pokemon. I think it looks really cool. I have all the alt art Room EXs in my binder over here, actually. And I've always kind of just liked Gholdengo. I've always preferred to play Gholdengo over Chien-Pao. I know Chien-Pao is better in our current metagame and stuff. I just find Gholdengo more fun. The ability coin bonus just feels good. Make it rain, discard a bunch of energy out of your hand, and then do a really big attack feels nice. But kind of crazy seeing Gholdengo here take the first place spot in that special event. Second place we got Lost Zone Toolbox, basically just like Lost Paradox Pokemon with like Raikou and stuff. We got the Mew, Hoopa, Iron Hands, Roaring Moon. Got the 4 Seals done in here. So nothing too crazy going on in this list here. Pretty much everything we've kind of already seen. We got Lugia, which I can't look at the list here for some odd reason. I don't know. All the lists are popped up for all Regional Stockholm and for Special Event Puerto Rico except this Lugia list, but that's alright. Then we got Lost Sablezard here, but it's like Lost Sablezard plus friends. It's like Lost Sablezard with Iron Hands EX, Mew EX, and Iron Bundle. Technical Machine De-Evolution in the deck, Technical Machine Crisis Punch in the deck as well to be able to hit something for 280 with that Cramorant. It's also going to be really cool. So really nice to see this deck do really well. I've always been kind of a big fan of Lost Sablezard. It's not really my go-to Lost Box deck, but I will play it from time to time. I'm definitely excited to try this deck out. I've always been a pretty big fan of the Technical Machines. Crisis Punch is usually okay in a very specific scenario against a very specific matchup, but at the end of the day, it's really nice to be able to just go 280, hit a Giratina, or Arceus, or Lugia V-Star, or anything like that. Feels really nice. Going back here, we got Roaring Moon, Dunsparce. Nothing too crazy with this list, just kind of Little Moon, Big Moon, Dunsparce for a draw engine, Iron Bundle, Temple of Sinnoh to be able to deal with Lugia and stuff like that, so you can, Frenzy Gouging and be able to hit some big numbers, take some instant KOs. And then, of course, you got, just your Prime Catcher as your ace pick of choice. Prime Catcher seems to be the one in pretty much all these lists here, except probably Lugia. That's probably the only one that's playing, like, Master Ball or something. We got Chien-Pao Baxcalibur. Nothing crazy about this list. It's pretty standard what we've been seeing. Playing the 4th Candy over the 2nd Vessel, which I think is really nice. I've always been a big fan of 4 Candy. Really make sure you can get that rare candy here. 7th place, we got another Chien-Pao deck. This one a little bit different, though. This one only playing... Actually, why is this one different? Let's take a look. We got Inkus. This one playing a different line of Frigibags. They're playing all one line of Frigibags, which I guess at the end of the day, the nice thing about the 60 HP Frigibags is, yes, you do have a moment where Sableye kind of can overrun you a little bit. However, the nice part about the 60 HP Frigibags, as opposed to the 70 HP one, is the retreat cost is only 1 for the 60 HP, as opposed to the 70 HP one, where it's going to cost 2. Yeah, you have that collect if you ever need it, and it's out of Sableye range, but being able to just have that 1 cost retreat is going to be really beneficial. And then we got 8th place here. We got Lost Tina. Not shocked to see Lost Tina here. Playing 2 Temple of Sinnoh. I had ran into this when I was playing at Indianapolis. My round 4 opponent was playing 2 Temple of Sinnoh, and it seems to be pretty common now. A lot of people seem to be playing 2 Temple of Sinnoh in their deck, which makes it really difficult for Lugia to kind of get around Lost Tina. It's still a favorable matchup, sure, but you really got to make sure that you're aware that they play 2 Temple of Sinnohs, or at least there's a chance that they are playing that second one. So you guys got to kind of play around it a little bit until you know if they only play 1 or 2. So top 8 special event Puerto Rico, Gholdengo winning it, which is kind of insane here. Then we got Regional Stockholm, first place going to Azul Garcia Grego, Azul GG. Playing Snorlax Stall, not even like Pidgeot Control. He had played Pidgeot Control to the Indianapolis Regionals, swapped it up to the just straight Snorlax Stall variant here. Pretty cool. One of my favorite moments in the regional was in the finals, I believe, actually. Azul plays Misfortune Sisters and hits 5 items off of his Chen Pao opponent, which I think is, his Lost Box opponent, which was actually kind of crazy. To just be like, yep, hit 5. Like, he opens them, looks at him, and goes, hands them all back, and says, here, I hit 5. And I'm just like, yeah, that's crazy. So, kind of shocked to see Snorlax Stall win. But once you look through the rest of the day 2, there's so much Charizard, there's so much Chen Pao, tons of Lost Box. It makes sense why it won. He hit a lot of great matchups throughout his run, and that's incredible. Second place going to Lost, Paradox with Rotom, which I thought was kind of crazy for the instant charge early game. Being able to ever use Scrap Short, I believe. 40 plus, put any number of tool cards from your discard pile into the Lost, and this does 40 damage for each card you put in the Lost on this way. So I guess you're capped because you're able to go, okay, this is 4, 8, 12. So, I guess you can hit for 12, right? Yeah, so you're kind of capped at a small number. But the really nice part is that instant charge if you ain't got nothing going on early game, which I thought was really cool. So nothing too crazy about that except that Rotom there. Then we got Tord playing Charizard, Toolbox, Control. Tord just does Tord things. We got the 2-2 or 1-1 line of Charmander here into the 2 Charizard EX. No Babero, no Bidoof. 2 Pidgey, 2 Pidgeot, 1 Radiant Zard, 1 Rotom, 1 Lumineon V, 1 Cleffa, 1 Regieleki, 1 Luxray, 1 Chi-Yu, 1 Mimikyu. For a pretty just control-y type lineup, playing the Hero's Cape as well. Making it really difficult for Lugia, actually. This deck right here, this list specifically, takes a really great matchup into Lugia. Putting that Hero's Cape on Charizard, giving it to 430 HP, makes it really hard to just KO it. And if they're playing Mist Energy, which Tord is playing Mist Energy, Frenzied Gouging and Star Requiem doesn't really matter. So you can just go Hero's Cape it, Mist Energy onto it, start burning Darkness for big numbers, and you're gonna have to 2-shot, maybe even 3-shot this Charizard EX to get there, which feels really bad. But not a shock to see it. Tord doing well, playing Charizard here. And then we got John Ang playing Chen Pao Baxcalibur, playing the 2-1 line of Frigibax here, playing the 70 HP Frigibax with a Collect. Other than that, though, this looks like almost the exact same list he was playing at Indianapolis Regionals. So pretty cool there. We got another Lost Box here by Brent Tonneson. He's been playing Lost Box pretty consistently. Playing the 2 Moon EX, which I thought was really interesting. When I was looking through these lists earlier, I was like, interesting, 2 Roaring Moons and not like a Hoopa. But I guess if you're not worried about Lugia that much, then it doesn't really matter. If you're worried about maybe more Zard or things like that, then I guess just taking the Roaring Moons and not having to play the Hoopa doesn't really matter that much. Or Arceus variants well. Hoopa is really good into Arceus variants, which I think is something a lot of people kind of forget about. Because not only A, it hits for weakness, but it counts how many energies are attached to all your Pokemon, which is also really nice. Playing 2 Town Store here, playing the 4 Steel Stone, of course, be able to attach to that Raikou, to be able to use that Star Alchemy here. Something else that I really wanted to point out about his list is we are not playing a single counter catcher. There's no counter catcher in this list at all. Instead, going for the Prime Catcher 2 Boss. Now, something else that a lot of people have been doing is they've been going to 1 Roxanne, 2 Boss, 1 Counter Catcher, 1 Prime Catcher. I've noticed that a lot in different Lost Box variants and things like that. But Brent saying, hey, I don't need Counter Catcher. I'm going to try to be up on prize cards and it doesn't matter. I'm going to play this really turbo type variant of Lost Box, which I thought was pretty interesting. We got a Lost Sablezard here, making its way into top 8, 6th place. Nothing too crazy. Playing the Cobalion, though, to be able to get to 280 with your Charizard opponent, maybe, or something, which I thought was kind of crazy. Not too sure any other reason why you would put it in the deck, except trying to maybe hit Charizard for more. I guess you're putting yourself in a position where... No, because even if you cram it, Crisis Punch, put this on here, you're only at 310, so you don't even do enough damage to do anything with that either. So, still really cool though. Not too sure about the Cobalion, maybe just cut it. I mean, I would like to maybe pick the brain of the person that played this and see why they're playing the Cobalion. But pretty cool once again to see Lost Sables are doing well here. Future Iron Hands. I hate Future Iron Hands. I hate the deck. I hate how it plays. It's boring. It's not fun. And as a person who plays Lugia, I don't ever want to sit across from this. But the deck is real. The deck is good if you can run hot. Being able to just hit high amount of electric energies off your generators to put on the Iron Hands and then having the Miraidon and all that stuff can really make a difference. And you can do some pretty cool plays with this deck as well. Being able to put yourself in a position where not only you can attack with Miraidon, but you can also attack with Iron Crown EX if you need to, because you are playing that one copy of Psychic Energy. Something else too is I've seen people attack with Mew EX with its attack genome hacking. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. I've seen a lot of people use Mew EX's attack playing Future Hands because you're just not prepared for it. A lot of people think that Mew EX is in the deck for Draw Engine, which it is. Restart being able to draw you up to 3 cards in your hand is really good, especially in a deck like this where your hand is going to be pretty low, like less than 3, maybe 1 card, 2, sometimes even 0, maybe after you like top deck your draw for turn or something. But it's a great attacker. It's a very nice hybrid attacker, being able to move energies with it, you know, with like Heavy Baton and things like that. Being able to, as well, you know, peak acceleration, being able to put energies onto your Iron Crown and your Iron Hands and then be able to move them later on to Mew, or just attaching for turn. You know, let's say you got an Iron Hand set up, your Miraidon set up, you have a second Iron Hand set up. Just start attaching for turn to the Mew. You have nothing else to do, so why not? So I think a lot of people being able to attack with Mew in that as well. Last top 8 deck here, we got Charizard. Now this is just the Tordzard variant with the 1/1 line of Bidoof Barrel, the 2/2 line of Pidgey-Pidgeot. You know, we're playing the maximum belt in here though. Try for that mirror match, trying to hit a little bit harder. In the choice belt as well, playing the 6 fire energy, no mist energy though. 2 lost vacuum. A lot of people are playing 1 lost vacuum. I think just always having 1 lost vacuum or 2 in a good amount of decks is a nice thing. Not all decks, but a good chunk of them could always benefit from playing lost vacuum. Especially a thing like Charizard, where your numbers are always meant to be small. You know, 180. Okay, you're short from things that have 190 HP. Rotom has 190. Short from that. You know, 210. You're short from most Pokemon V, like Lugia V and Arceus V at 220, right? So you're always kind of short. Lugia V-Star, Arceus V-Star, Giratina V-Star. Your cat that you hit 270, right? So maximum belt makes sense. Choice belt makes sense. Playing the lost vacuum so you can remove things to kind of make it so your numbers are easier to get to, which is always nice. So, not shocked to see that there. Of course, we got Ryan Ichinuchi playing Snorlax Stall as well, playing a very similar list to Azul GG, playing a very similar list. I'm pretty sure it actually might be the exact same list. I know they've been kind of working together a little bit here. 2 more Charizards. We got a Gardevoir deck here, though. Take a look at that. We got Gardevoir with the Gallade. Got Cresselia. I'm so glad Cresselia is making a comeback in Gardevoir decks. Moonglow Reverse, such a fantastic attack. Move 2 damage counters from each of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon is incredible. Super underrated, and a lot of people were cutting Cresselia from their decks, and I was like, no, this card is incredible. It's really hybrid. Being able to Lunar Blast from 110 to be able to deal with things like Cramorant's really nice. And, of course, being able to Moonglow Reverse and putting a bunch of damage counters on something on the bench can be really helpful as well. Of course, this one playing Technical Machine Evolution and De-Evolution. And the Hero's Cape as well. I'm actually really excited to see what'll happen with Twilight Masquerade coming out. If they're going to play the A-Spec that lets you search for 3 stage 1s, being able to find that Refinement Curlia, or if they're still going to play Hero's Cape. Really excited to see what that'll look like. Got another Lost Zone toolbox here. Very similar to the first place list. Nothing too crazy going on here. We got our Goldango deck coming back as well. This one playing a 1/1 line of Palkia V and V-Star as opposed to the Special Event Puerto Rico one where it was playing a 2/2 line of Palkia V and V-Star. But once again, not shocked to see Goldango doing pretty well. It takes a pretty decent matchup in a lot of the things, and if a good player is playing Goldango, they'll be able to do well with it. Once again, shocked to see it win Special Event Puerto Rico. Not shocked to see it make day 2. It's a pretty good deck, and Regional Stockholm being a smaller regional, only I think it was 675 players total. Definitely makes sense that some of these decks are going to squeak in here. We got our first Arceus deck. This one playing Arcane Control. Arcane Control keeps showing up and saying, hey, I got stuff. I'm a good deck. I've been playing a couple games with Arcane Control myself, and it seems pretty fun. It's not my cup of tea. Maybe not the deck I would like to play to a lot of my events or anything, but a really good deck into a lot of matchups. And if you are able to understand what your opponent is trying to do, it takes a lot of game knowledge for this and a lot of matchup knowledge. If you know how your opponent's deck functions and what they're trying to do, you'll be able to time your Eries properly, your Grabbers properly. You'll be able to make sure no one to Roseanne's backup, make sure no one does Sharon's Care, De-Evolution. all these things will make your life a little bit easier. Of course, having the Flutter main in here with his ability Midnight Fluttering, as long as Pokemon's in your active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon have no abilities except Midnight Fluttering. So, pretty cool seeing Arceus hand control do well. We got Pidgeot control played by Sander Wojcik. No shock seeing him play control here. This one playing a little bit differently, playing the 2/2 line of Purloin and Liepard with the trade ability. Ability trade, you must discard a card from your hand or use ability once during your turn, and you draw 2 cards. So, being able to really go through the deck very quickly, you know, playing a Super Rod and stuff, so being able to discard things like Fire Energy or Regieleki or Snorlax, and then being able to just Super Rod them back in is really nice. Or being able to just trade. All right, I don't need to play Arven this turn, so I can just trade, discard the Arven, draw 2, Pal Pad the Arven and something else back in if I need to is also really cool. So pretty awesome to see the Liepard in here. Definitely kind of didn't make sense to me at first, but when I started thinking about it, I was like, oh, this is actually great. So pretty cool there to see Pidgeot control with its own little spin by the Control Master, making top 16 as well. We got our first Lugia deck here. Nothing too crazy going on. The only thing that's kind of important to note here is we got Prime Catcher instead of Master Ball, but this isn't anything too crazy new. We've been seeing a lot of people play Prime Catcher over Master Ball more often than not, playing 1 copy of Morty's Conviction and 1 Mew EX. Mew EX is a great Pokemon in this deck. Lugia is great without Mew and with Mew. The nice thing about Mew is being able to just copy your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks, being able to have a better time into Charizard late game, having a better time into Lost Tina as well. Since they're playing Temple of Sinnoh, you can just go, okay, DTE, attach a gift, copy Impact, 280. Like, it's pretty nice. Well, I guess maybe not DTE. Maybe you guys still gotta have 3 on there, but being able to just copy that and not have any repercussions of it is also really nice as well. So, nice to see Lugia still doing well. We got another Chien-Pao played by Reagan here. Very similar. Probably the exact same list as John Ang, actually. Another Charizard. We got our first Dialga Matang deck. Pretty much what we've been seeing. Heavy Super Rod, heavy Research, heavy Iono. You know, the Andrew Hedrick build that won Indianapolis. So, not shocked to see that there. We got a lot of decks in the format. A lot of decks being 2 decks that are just really heavy on energy count. You know, Future Hands plays like 14 or 15 energies. Dialga plays like 15 energies. So I always thought that was kind of interesting too. I've never only been playing Pokemon for maybe about a year competitively or so. It's been very interesting to see decks playing such heavy energy count. Got another Lugia deck here. This one playing the Snorlax, unlike the other one was. This one playing 1 Lumineon, still playing the Mew as well. Got the 4/3 line, got the Master Ball in here for consistency. So pretty cool to see that there. We got Arc Armor Rouge showing up here. This deck is kind of one of those weird decks where it'll always squeak its way in. It's not a bad deck. It's not a great deck. It's kind of just middle of the road like B tier. If you're caught off guard about it, you're going to have a terrible time. You know, that Armor Rouge EX with its Scorching Bazooka attack can do a lot of damage. Fire off being able to move energies. Radiant Charizard for a late game attacker. Delphox for an early game attacker. Being able to move energies to the Mew. It's really nice to be able to just kind of move energies around with this Arc Armor Rouge deck. I also like the 1 copy of Mila. Can only use this card if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Attach a basic Fire Energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. If you do, draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. Which is also really nice, especially because you're not playing a Squavit in this list. So not able to Nest Dash, combo that with the Industrious Incisors is something that's really important. We got our first Ancient Box deck here. We got Roaring Moon with the Flutter Mane, Koraidon, 1 copy of Slitherwing. Nothing too crazy going on. This is kind of what we've been seeing with Ancient Box lately. Except Prime Catcher, a lot of people are playing a Wicketing Drum for some draw engine, but Prime Catcher is always that aspect that just makes sense in any deck it goes in. So, got another Stall deck, another Charizard Pidgeot. This one playing very similar to what we had seen Tord actually play with the Mawile. Tord wasn't playing Mawile, I don't think, though, but very similar with the kind of control type variant. The only thing they're missing in this control variant is probably the Regieleki, but still really cool to see Charizard just kind of innovating and changing it up. It's not the same deck all the time. We got like Control Charizard, we got Charizard Pidgeot, Bibzard, we got Charizard and Bib Charizard, which I think is really cool. So really cool to see kind of just changing around here. We got Arctina showing up here. Nothing too crazy going on with this list. Very similar to what we've been seeing in Arctina. Maybe the only thing different is like the 3/3 line of Bidoof Barrel, but I like the 3/3 line, be able to keep drawing some cards here. Another Lost Zone box, very similar to our top 8 list, playing like Lost Box with friends. We got a bunch of Charizard here. It's crazy to see James Cox playing Charizard and not Gardevoir, but you know, it is what it is. Playing just towards Zard, it's kind of a safe, good pick for Charizard here. A couple more Charizards. Pidgeot Control, we got these here. We got... Yep, this one is the Wigglytuff Control. Perfect. I've been playing a lot of Wigglytuff Control myself. Been having tons of fun with it. Second Wigglytuff Control. Glad to see it keep showing up here. Second Arc Armor Rouge. We got another Lugia, another Pidgeot Control. This one playing not no Wigglytuff in this one here. A little bit more streamlined. Trying not to have so many one-ofs. Another Future Hands as well. Got another Lost Zone Toolbox. Another Charizard playing towards Zard here. Got another Arctina. Lost Tina. Another Lost Tina. We haven't seen quite a bit of those. Dialga. Another Arc Armor Rouge. Raging Bolt Palkia. This is kind of like the last different deck that we had seen in Day 2 at Stockholm. So we got the 2-2 line of Palkia V and V-Star. Got 3 Raging Bolt EX, 2 Sandy Shocks, 1 single prizer of Sandy Shocks here with his attack Magnetic Burst. If you have 3 or more energy in play, this attack does 70 more damage. So being able to hit for 90, times that by 2 on Pokemon that are weak to fighting, 180, which is pretty good. Being able to also Power Gem is pretty cool. 60, times that by 2 is 120. But this really helps into things like the control matchup, being able to actually really pressure your opponent, being like, hey, I got a bunch of energies on board. I'm not going to discard them. I'm just going to keep punching in the face with Magnetic Burst over and over and over again, which I thought was really cool. Got a Squawkabilly in here, of course. Got the Mew as well. So pretty cool to see another just kind of rogue deck showing up here, finishing in 70th place. So pretty cool. Nice, a lot of good variety here in Day 2. Let's take a look at the statistics. So we got Charizard, of course, being the #1 represented deck. It's always going to be. We got 18 counts of that. 8 counts of Lost Zone Toolbox. 1 being Lost Sablezard, of course. 8 Ancient Box. 7 Arceus decks. 6 Snorlax Stall. 6 Chempao. 6 Pidgeot Control. 4 Lugia. 3 Future. 2 Dialga. 2 Giratina. 1 Gardevoir. 1 Goldengo. And 1 Raging Bolt. I will say it's still pretty skewed in the way of Charizard being the #1 deck, still kind of being the most represented deck, but still quite a bit of variety here in that Day 2 at Regional Stockholm. So now, let's jump right in to that outro. Alrighty, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed the content I've been making so far here on the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. And let me know down in the comments below what deck you guys would have played had you gone to Stockholm Regionals. I probably would have played Lugia V-Star. It's kind of been my comfort pick, my go-to pick for a lot of tournaments lately. Although I have been playing a lot of different decks and kind of just branching out, trying Control for the first time, trying to play different variants of Lost Box and different Arceus variants. And I've been playing, of course, the Big Green Bird, playing a Sprotha. But Lugia would have been my pick. But I want to hear what deck you guys would have played had you gone to Regional Stockholm. So let me know down in the comments below what deck you guys would have played. Alrighty, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!